We have started an initiative called the Low Carbon Technology Partnerships, or LCTPI, to bring business solutions to the climate change negotiations in Paris. It's time that we start getting serious about acting on climate change. It's time that businesses start to scale up solutions. We've identified 9 big solution areas. They range from carbon capture and storage, climate smart agriculture, to renewable energy, and a few more. And we're here in New Delhi today to work with Indian companies to see which of those global solutions are applicable to India and what would implementation of those solutions in India mean, given the context in this country is a different one than in some of the other places on the earth. So we're really trying to mobilize Indian businesses to become part of a global solution for climate change, but do it in a way that is relevant and meaningful for the Indian market.
So if you look at this is broadly to address the industries which are the biggest consumer of power and are considered as a polluting industry as well. So the intent here is to educate those companies and bring them on the platform that world cannot afford to have more emissions, and probably we have to start controlling the amount of pollution which we are causing. And for a company like us, Welspun Energy, we have been pioneer in investing into the clean energy, and we were one of the first mover. We always believed in that you cannot deprive your nation and earth of natural resources, so you have no right to take more than what you can give back to the society. So from that context, it gives a very good platform to share what India and companies like us are doing in spreading more and more sustainable uses of energy, a sustainable way of functioning, and increasing that awareness not just in India but at global platform as well. And also to encourage probably government to incentivize players like us who are thinking about future, who are concerned about the next generation.
No, I think India, in my mind, has 2 phases in this conversation. First, if you look at it globally, India is often perceived as not taking climate change serious because there are so many other issues in the country that the country has to address. But if I'm on the ground here, if I talk to business leaders like Vineet and the others in the room, I'm actually quite encouraged at the awareness that business has, but also the opportunities that they see to start investing. The thing that I think is important, and that's one of the reasons for being here and for spending the evening with some 40 CEOs from India tonight, is we must get the Indian voice to Paris. We must make the Indian voice part of the global debate. The opportunity is now out there. Business is seen as an important provider of solutions for climate action, but it cannot happen if the Indian voice stays silent. So I've had workshops around renewables, climate smart agriculture, cement and buildings, just like Vineet said, because those are the areas where the carbon intensity is highest. But we're working with the Indian companies who are here to understand what are the barriers to get to better solutions. What do you need? Is it financing? Is it better regulation? Is it research and development? Tell us and we'll go and work together to find solutions for that. And if and when we do, and if the Indian leaders are willing and able to join us in Paris to bring that Indian voice to the global debate, then I don't see in barriers, I think in solutions and opportunities that also Indian businesses will have out of this transition.
So actually, I'll put this answer in 2 parts. So one of our recommendation has always been that low cost energy and energy access for all is need for every country. It's not unique to India. And there has to be a common platform. Like if you look at, compare it with the IT world, when Linux came, it actually changed the whole operating system debate. Probably Microsoft brought down the cost by 1/3 and it's it's on the falling spree. Similarly, in the energy world, there has to be a common platform created where the research are available to everyone and people can actually use it, modify their country for their country's need, and enhance it further. So the need of today is to live in a sustainable society. The challenge comes is that when people start thinking that we were less privileged and you guys have been more privileged and you spoil the environment. But today the world is one, the environment is one. So at some level, how do you get that partnership model coming in? That's, I think, few things which comes to my mind is one is creating this common platform to share knowledge and share IP. Second is probably making global funds available to invest into this sector, because one of the other constraint which comes, Indian government has come out with a very ambitious plan of 160 gigawatt of solar and wind, but they are coming out with similar ambitious plan for carbon efficient, energy efficient industry. All of this requires funding. So if the world can actually use that as a barter to encourage developing nations to invest more and more towards sustainable manufacturing, sustainable energy, that will be very conducive. And I think finally there has to be some mechanism to start pricing for carbon, because that becomes one of the incentive for people who want to invest into decarbonization of society to invest, and for people who are polluting the world, some level of penalty. So I think if you look at from our context, those three things will be important. I think IPR has to be respected. If some company has built certain IPR, it's their right, and if global government wants to provide that IPR on a common platform, then government should pay that cost to them, because nothing comes for free in this world. So actually, if you look at the Climate Bank, it was a great initiative which came out after the Rio meet, but till date Climate Bank has disbursed nothing. They have started an office in Korea and they have hired the leadership team. So there is a huge need. So when we talk about the sustainable living, it's all about building sustainable infrastructure, sustainable urbanization. India needs itself more than $1 trillion for its urban infrastructure and energy and transportation need. So these kind of platforms will help, like maybe a BRICS bank is a very good initiative. Maybe Asian Development Bank is doing a lot, but still they have a limited capital which they can allocate to a single country. So what is needed is more sustainable banks and probably more of global bonds where countries risk somehow is enhanced by some banks. So say for example, if India is BBB country, a company which is issuing a bond from India in global market can't be AAA. So the credit enhancement by a global bank, which only works say for sustainable development, and says that if the company is good and even if the country's rating is low, we will give the credit enhancement so that they can access the low cost of capital to grow and become more sustainable.
No, I think from my point of view, I represent the voice of business, and the role that business has to play is to create the environment where investable projects emerge. And of course, we need to go to Paris and we need to go to World Bank meetings and all the others to say if we really are serious about making a low carbon economy a reality, then we have got to be able to agree that a certain part of World Bank or other development funding goes into renewable or other solutions, and here's a menu of solutions. But what business contribution really is, and that's at the end of the day, entrepreneurs on the ground putting their money at risk and then saying this project can be bigger, faster, better if there is additional funding available, that's the role that business has to play. And I think, you could easily say, well, let's sit back and wait for the World Bank or somebody else to bring us money. But there is no time to do that. The luxury of time is one that we don't have when it comes to climate. So I think we need to work both tracks parallel. And that's again what I hope that LCTPI and the discussion here today in India will contribute. Convince ourselves as business and business leaders that there are real solutions that we know what the barriers are, and that we jointly work on what are the solutions for those barriers. And then secondly, present those solutions in a credible way in Paris, but later on in every country, to say, here's a business leader, he's prepared to commit his own resources in this or that solution, and then bring that together with a financing solution.